Race number 2 of the day for the Nankang Tyre BMW Compact Cup is just a few moments away. The cars are heading out onto the circuit now, and here is how they should line up. It's based on the result from race 1, so it's Ian Jones and Stephen Daly on row 1, Tom Griffiths and Mikey Doble on row 2, with Wayne Flint and Ben Huntley sharing that third row of the grid. Jordan Stilt made a good impression in race 1. He's got Ollie Fowler for company on row 4, ahead of Paul Maguire and Mark Skeets, then lead Andy Sadler and Ray McDowell on the 6th row. Row 7 is shared by Will Davison and Tom Langford. Gordon McMillan is next alongside Cliff Harper, with Matt Flowers and Martin Gadsby on row number 9 together. And then rounding out the top 20, on row number 10, we've got Rhys Clayton and Mike Doble, father of frontrunner Mikey. James Barrett is next, ahead of Luke Browse. He should do better than that, really. Gareth Claydon likewise, and John King alongside him on row 12. Russell Cager is next, ahead of Ian Howes, Phil Adcock and Saranga Sothis-Srari, with David May and Peter Parsons rounding out the top 30. It's another capacity grid though, another really well supported championship this one, and Branko Kibrowski is next, ahead of Brendan Murphy. Then Mark Skeggs, Tom Evans and Craig Arkell will round out the 35 starters. So as I said, that grid is the result of race number 1. So Ian Jones held on to the win, but Stephen Daly definitely didn't let him have it all his own way. It was pretty close at the front of the field between the two of them. The start will be crucial in this one as well, I'm sure. And then keep an eye to row number 3, because Ben Huntley, who starts 6th, had a terrible start in race 1 from the second row of the grid. Ended up going backwards. If he gets a good start this time, he seemed to have the pace to challenge for top honours as well. He was just doing so from that little bit further down the order. So Ben Huntley then lines up 6th, then Jordan Stilt right behind him, someone who has Renault UK Clio Cup experience, British GT racer as well. Jordan Stilt making the move back into the BMW Compact Cup, something that former champion James Gornall did, of course. James Gornall won the British GT Championship in a Dodge Viper in 2008, then a few years later came to race in the Compact Cup, and then went back to race in Mini Challenge, and now the British Touring Car Championship. So the Compact Cup has brought about quite a few really talented racing drivers in both touring car and GT racing. Of course, these are rear-wheel drive tin tops, so they kind of cater to both, and it also welcomes in some pretty well-established names from time to time. Jordan Stilt definitely one of those. So getting ready then for the race to get underway, and the back few rows of the grid almost in place now. What sort of start will Stephen Daly get? It's a slightly wetter line maybe for Ian Jones on driver's right there. Our left, the pink and black car is that of Ian Jones, and might that hamper him off the line. Keep an eye to Mikey Doble as well, who's having a real standout start to the season. Got quicker and quicker last year, and now really is a podium contender right off the bat. Finished 4th in that first race. That's why he starts there for race 2, but he was within 2 seconds of the third place driver Tom Griffiths, who I saw jogging around the paddock between races. So he's psyched up, ready for this second race, which is now about to get underway. Ian Jones and Stephen Daly on the front row together, and the run towards Old Hall Corner will be pivotal. Let's hope they all stay off each other as well through that first sequence of corners. We saw a shunt earlier on in the Honda Civic Cup, but away they go. The lights are out, even start. Not a great one though for Ben Huntley. Look, the blue car from 6th on the grid is sluggish away again. Stephen Daly has got his nose in front of Ian Jones, gets his whole car in front of Ian Jones, and gets the lead into Old Hall Corner. So Daly, the reigning champion, is out in front. Ian Jones 2nd. I think it was Griffiths and Doble 3rd and 4th. Ollie Fowler's out wide. Someone else, is that Mikey Doble, maybe running wide actually through Old Hall Corner. The rest of them skating their way through. Yeah, Mikey Doble's fallen back, I'm afraid. So Griffiths is 3rd, Flint is 4th, Jordan Stilt into 5th position. And I don't know what's happened to Mikey Doble. He's dropped a long way down the field, outside the top 10 possibly there. He's just in front of Matt Flowers, and Matt Flowers started 17th. So I think Matt's gained some ground, as well as Mikey Doble losing ground there, but they're sort of meeting in the middle. So Daly leads then, Jones in 2nd, and this is not in the script for Ian Jones. Ben Huntley here with Paul Maguire side by side. These two did battle in the early stages of race 1-2, and that's Stephen Daly. Stephen Daly has just gone off the road, going through Island Bend from the lead of the race, I think. Let's just wait for confirmation, but there was a white car bouncing its way back on the road, and I'm pretty sure it was the KC Motorsport car of Stephen Daly. Let's see as he rejoined. David May comes through there. I'm sure that's Daly. We can't see the number from here, but I'm pretty sure Stephen Daly is the man that's just gone off coming through Island Bend. He got the lead, but has he just thrown it away? We'll know hopefully from the next shot whether or not it's Ian Jones out in front, and that's Jones. I think they've both gone off, haven't they? Yeah, Jones and Daly have both been off the road, and I think it's Tom Griffiths that leads the race. Just as we saw here at Oulton Park last year, Jones and Daly make contact on the opening lap of a race and hand a potential victory to somebody else. Ollie Fowler there diving up the inside of lead Andy Sadler through Knickerbrook Corner. As they make their way out of Knickerbrook and up the hill, though, we have a really jumbled order. There goes Stephen Daly, look, pulling to the outside of Matt Flowers, possibly going over Clay Hill. We'll get a full read of the order at the end of the lap, but that is real drama. Tom Griffiths then leads the way. He is a winner in the Compact Cup in the past at Thruxton, but hasn't won here at Oulton Park before, and if he wins the race with Jones and Daly down the order, he would take the championship lead. That would be a really great way for him to start the season. Wayne Flint is second, and Jordan Stilp, on his return to the championship, is in third position. So that is not the top three that you would have predicted at the start of this race, but that is Oulton Park for you. It's narrow, it's slippery in these conditions, and with so many cars all capable of running at more or less the same speed, I guess the odd incident is almost to be expected. So the leaders then have come through to complete the first lap, and the race is indeed being led by Tom Griffiths then by 1.2 seconds over Wayne Flint in second, third for Jordan Stilp, fourth Mark Skeets, fifth is Paul Maguire, sixth Ben Huntley. Midfield runners just coming through, one car heading for the pit lane there in the background. Who's that? Jim Barrett, I think, possibly has just taken the right-hand turn into the pit lane. And as they go down the Lakeside Straight, it is very much not the order that we had a lap or so ago. Mikey Doble's fallen down the order, Stephen Daly, Ian Jones out of it now as well. Who is going to come out on top? That's the next question. Battle on here between lead Andy Sadler and number 4 of Ray McDowell. That's Andy Sadler going through, and that's Andy Sadler going off into the grass. And is he going to make the barriers? I think he might do. Just comes up short. And lead Andy Sadler, who's got a new paint scheme on that car for 2020. Sadly, it's got an extra bit of mud all over it now because he just took a bit too much speed in. He'd gone past Ray McDowell, I think, down the straight, carried that extra speed into Island Bend, and just couldn't make the car stick. So lead Andy Sadler off the road, another potential front runner who has thrown his chance of a really good result away, but at least he's got a bit of time to fight back again over the rest of the race. Still 10 minutes to go. Rejoins just behind Brendan Murphy by the looks of it. That was. There is Stephen Daly then. So Stephen Daly just ahead of Ollie Fowler. That puts him in about 8th place by my reckoning. His next target will be Ray McDowell, so he was just about to close in on that battle, so he'll have, in the nicest way possible, been quite happy to see lead Andy Sadler skating off the road up at Island Bend. It's a scary place to go off though, and there is Ian Jones just behind Mike Doble, that will be, I think, father of Mikey. I actually know which Doble is ahead at the moment. Mike Doble is 18th, Mikey is 14th, so yeah, that was Mike Doble that Ian Jones was behind. So that puts him in about 18th place for Jones. So Daly definitely came out of that better than Jones. Paul Maguire racing hard with Will Davison there through Druids, and Davison trying to get up the inside down into Lodge Corner, and Brendan Murphy has gone off now coming out of Knickerbrook, and that's lead Andy Sadler involved again. So lead Andy Sadler has been involved in two incidents in the same lap, and Brendan Murphy with a big ding in the door I think may have had some contact there. So Brendan Murphy stranded. Now, has the car stalled? Fear it may have done, and that is unfortunately going to take him out of the race. Oh, Paul Maguire there racing away with Will Davison. It's getting very, very sketchy out there. Of course, as they get more comfortable and confident in the conditions, so they start taking more risks and maybe making a few more mistakes. So they've got to be careful here. So down the Lakeside Straight they go. That's it's hard to keep track, really, isn't it, of everything going on in this race. Tom Griffiths has a 1.3 second lead, so he was more or less matched on that previous lap by Wayne Flint, and Jordan still very much going with him. So the top three still in close quarters. We're watching Ben Huntley here as he tries to take 4th away from Mark Skeets. Now, Mark Skeets is 2nd place in the Masters. He's got another new livery on that car. He does like to bring a new paint scheme to the start of every season, does Mark, and he's running really well. He didn't have a great first race. Where did Mark end up in race 1, or comes out in the 2nd, because number 70 is into the pit lane. This will be one of the drivers who came a cropper down at Knickerbrook, and that is Peter Parsons, who started 30th on the grid, but yeah, he's definitely fallen back a bit. Now, Mark Skeets started 10th, and the red car there at the centre of your shot is now running up in 4th place, but Ben Huntley wants to try and take that 4th place away. This is a track that Ben won at last year, got his first ever Compact Cup win after Ian Jones and Stephen Daly took each other off at Cascades on the first lap of the final race of the day. Well, they got a bit further around the lap this time before they made contact, but not that much further. And Ben Huntley not quite in the same sort of position to capitalise, but he is in a position maybe to get himself into fourth and chase after the top three. There are the top three, Griffiths leading, Flint in second, Stilp in third, and then fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh now all together, because Skeets and Huntley are being caught by Paul Maguire and Will Davis, and Huntley much quicker out of Druid's corner, and he looks to try and get the run down the back straight into Lodge corner, goes to the outside. Huntley ran a bit wide here at one point in race number one, but he's going to try and go right round the outside as he through Lodge corner, and he's done it. Ben Huntley has gone through into fourth spot, so Ben Huntley then gets fourth away. Now, can he chase after the leading three? He's still got some time left in this race. We are into the second half of it, but only just, and maybe he can get there. Stephen Daly, though, there, look, has just set the fastest lap, a 2 minutes 21.874, and he too is now on the back of this queue. So Stephen Daly chasing down Paul Maguire. Behind him you've got Ollie Fowler trying to get past Ray McDowell, battling wherever you look here, as is often the way in this championship, and that looks like Will Davison going off. Yep, Will Davison takes the shortcut through the Fosters route, and he's going so fast he might almost may end up back on the track down at Knickerbrook. He just about stops the car. I think he got a wheel on the grass. Yeah, just took that wide line and the rear stepped out. That put him on the grass, and the car has clearly flicked back the other way. And Will Davison, another driver, taking himself out of a promising position. He was running sixth, and he rejoins just behind Phil Adcock. And Phil, who has his sons here, Ben and Matthew, helping him out as always. It's Ben's 21st birthday, I believe. I don't know whether that's today or whether he's just had it, but happy birthday to Ben. And he and his brother helping their dad out. Phil has been a long-time supporter of the BMW Compact Cup, and contrary to popular belief, always does strive to improve year on year and get further towards the front of the grid, but he enjoys his racing regardless. And he is, where is Phil Adcock at the moment? 24th place, so running solidly towards the back of the midfield runners. Stephen Daly, though, is trying to get his way to the front. He's got past Paul Maguire on this lap. Of course, Will Davison took himself out of the equation with that mistake at Cascade. So Stephen Daly's gained 2 spots already. He's into 6th, and Mark Skeets would be his next target for 5th. But look up the road at the way that Ben Huntley has caught Jordan Stilp. So game on for 3rd place now. Ben Huntley is absolutely flying. This will almost certainly be a new fastest lap of the race. And if he clears Jordan Stilp quickly, you might think he's got a chance to chase after Wayne Flint and maybe even Tom Griffiths as well. Ben Huntley is the fastest car on the track quite clearly on this lap, and he's all over the back of Jordan Stilp, a far more experienced driver, but Ben Huntley has more recent experience in this championship. I'm not sure if that's a new car for Ben or whether it's just a new paint scheme. I'd imagine it's the latter, so he should be familiar with the car. It's certainly running well in these wet conditions, and he's all over Jordan now as they come out of Lodge Corner and head across the start-finish line. So there they go. The leader is still Tom Griffiths by officially 2.2 seconds. Second place is Wayne Flint. Third is Jordan Stilp. But yeah, new fastest lap Ben Huntley at 2 minutes 20.897 as he chases down the third place driver. Then for 5th position, Mark Skeets still just ahead of Stephen Daly. They're getting brave with that concrete on the extra Vauxhall corner. Huntley alongside Stilp in the distance. Look, Ben Huntley going to the outside at Cascades corner. That is a really risky place to put yourself, though. We've seen a few drivers go off there today, including on the previous lap Will Davison. But if you can get it right, you carry a lot more speed off the turn. He's in the slipstream. He's looking to try and attack as they head into Island Bend. But has Ben been able to get alongside? No. Jordan is an experienced driver. He knows all about racecraft. He knows how to defend a position from a quicker car. And so too, in fairness, does Mark Skeets. And Stephen Daly is not having an easy time getting past Mark. Certainly not as easy as the last couple of overtakes that he's made. Skeetsy, the Irish driver there, number 42, heads through as we've had the change for 3rd. Ben Huntley, look, ahead of Jordan Stilp. Well picked up there by our camera operator up at Shell. Ben Huntley has got himself into a podium place, but that little battle that he had with Stilp might have delayed him enough to stop his chances of catching Wayne Flint. Although look at the way he's racing away from Stilp. The pace that Ben Huntley has in this race is absolutely astonishing, and it does look as though he's going to have a shot at chasing down the top 2. Onto the brakes into Hislops. Daly still can't get past Mark Skeets, and if anything, Paul Maguire is starting to close in on them again now. Through Hislops, then the right-hander at Knickerbrook corner. There you can see the top four kind of pretty equidistantly spaced out. The closest battle at the moment is the one for fifth, but we're watching the gap between Wayne Flint in second and Ben Huntley in third with interest. There is Tom Griffiths, though. He should be good for the race win now, you'd imagine. Flint there in second. Ben Huntley, look at the attitude of that car, really sliding around, and Stephen Daly does now go into fourth place. So Stephen Daly ahead of Mark Skeets, but he goes very, very quickly into Druid. Has Stephen Daly just gone off again? I think he might have done. No, just got it back on the road, but very, very sideways going into Druid's corner there for Stephen Daly. The Scottish driver thankfully avoids another grassy excursion. How's Ian Jones getting on, by the way, I hear you ask? He has recovered to 14th place, but not really as high up the order as he'd like to be. So, through they come then. The lap times at the front. Griffiths, the leader, does a 2:21.8. Oh, off has gone Luke Browse, that's a shame. Into the barriers at Druids, rejoins, and almost takes the barriers back with him. But Luke Browse, who's been getting some tuition, I know, of late from his good friend Ollie Taylor, who is former runner-up in the TCR UK Championship. Bit of damage done to the back of the car, but it should be okay. Yeah, lap times then. Griffiths does a 2:21.891, Flint does a 2:21.988, and Huntley a 2:20.988. So he's a full second quicker than the leaders. The trouble is, we're now on the last lap of the race, so he might have a chance. Well, I think he has caught Wayne Flint, actually. We need to see the battle for second, don't we? Because Tom Griffiths is leading, but what is going on for second position? Is it Flint or is it Huntley who will be in second by the flag? Huntley has definitely caught him, but has he got time to find a way through? Yes, he has! Ben Huntley has gone into second place. Brilliant stuff from the youngster. This has been one of the drives of his career, and he's into P2 with just under half a lap to go. Surely he can't catch Tom Griffiths, can he? Well, he's a full second a lap quicker than Griffiths, and he started the lap about 3.5 back, so I don't think he can, but I don't know. Stranger things have happened in Compact Cup racing. Ben Huntley has got that wet setup absolutely perfect, and Tom Griffiths will be watching his mirrors now. He will see him coming. He'll be aware, I'm sure, that that gap is coming down by the corner. The 104 car there stays well out of the way. Evans there just pulling off onto the runoff area. Can Huntley get there? Surely he can't. He needs to be careful not to throw away second place as well. Gets very sideways out of Knickerbrook corner there. If this race had been even one lap longer, we could have been teeing up a race victory here for Ben Huntley. It might end up being second place. There's a car off there at Island Bend. Maybe Saranga Sothesrari. Didn't quite see the number. 80-something, but I didn't quite see what the second digit was. Tom Griffiths, though, I think, is just going to hang on to the race victory. And what a victory this will be. A little fortuitous with Stephen Daly and Ian Jones having their shenanigans on the first lap, but Tom Griffiths was in the right place at the right time to capitalise, and he's not put a foot wrong all race. But the real star of the show, you'd have to say, is Ben Huntley. Tom Griffiths flashes the lights, then comes through a race winner. Second place, though, goes to Ben Huntley, and third for Wayne Flint. Fantastic job there. Jordan Still, I think, will be satisfied with how his day has gone. He ends up in fourth position. Fifth for Stephen Daly, sixth Mark Skeets, seventh for Paul Maguire, 8th for Tom Langford, 9th will be Mikey Doble. Good recovery from him after those issues earlier on. And rounding out the top 10 in the end, Ian Jones. So Jones gained about 3 or 4 places there on the last lap alone, but he will be ruining that moment. And it really is reminiscent of the contact that he and Daly had 12 months ago, because on that occasion, Daly was the one that, again, came off the better, and he ended up finishing, I seem to recall, up on the podium in the end, but Ian Jones ended up with rather a worse result by the end of the race. So good stuff there, though. Oh, there's a car in the barriers. Number 68 has gone off at Druids, that appears to be. And number 68 is Russell Cage at car number 25. Not quite sure how that came about, but the car has come to a rest in the gravel and will be going no further, won't make it to the end of the race. So Ian Jones then, unfortunately, throwing away a good chance for a race victory there, and it is Tom Griffiths who comes home victorious. Well, I'm saying Ian Jones threw away a race victory. We don't actually know what happened there, but it was a definite contact there between the two of them. And they both went off the road up at Island Bend, and unfortunately, that, for them at least, that has opened the door for Griffiths, Huntley and Flint to come through on the podium. Well, before we go, confirmation of the result of that BMW Compact Cup race. Tom Griffiths with Ben Huntley second, Wayne Flint third, Jordan Stilt fourth, Stephen Daly fifth, Mark Skeets in sixth, Paul Maguire seventh, and Tom Langford came home in eighth position.